For some people, this question of animal well-being actually conceals the real problem. Whether they live well or badly, animals are always exploited for our own interests. American professor and philosopher Gary Francione is the leader of a school of thought that brings together those known as abolitionists.
The animal welfare movement is counterproductive because the message that you give to people is that it's all right for them to continue to consume. If they buy the cage-free egg, if they buy the pig, the pork that has not been produced in a crate, that's okay, that's morally okay. And you see, to me, that's like saying, well, is it better if you beat the slaves, 5 times a week rather than 10 times a week? And the answer is yes, of course it's better, but it doesn't mean that slavery is okay. And it doesn't mean that we should encourage slavery as long as you beat the slaves only 5 times a week and not 10 times a week. There is no happy meat, there is no happy dairy, there are no happy eggs. There's only animal products that are made with more or less torture, that's all. My view is animal ethics means abolishing animal exploitation.
Gary Francione and the abolitionists have another reason to oppose raising livestock in all its form. Whether they are treated well or not, all these animals will end up in the abattoir, like 142 billion animals every year around the world. This end is unacceptable for abolitionists.
Most people have never been in an abattoir, in a slaughterhouse. And, I've been in many of them. And I've been in supposedly good ones. And I've been in supposedly not good ones. And you know what? They're all the same. They're all horrible, horrible, horrible places.
Especially since those shocking videos about what actually goes on in abattoirs have been broadcast in Europe. Slaughtering animals has become a moral issue for the general public. And they are not the only ones asking questions. Those raising the animals are, too. For some small-scale breeders, the issue of death governs their relationship with their animals. Stéphane Caravagno and Muriel Despouhon breed 200 sheep for their wool and their lambs. They offer them an almost ideal life in the mountain pastures. But when it comes to slaughter, farmers feel they lose control. For reasons of hygiene and traceability, they are forced to deliver their animals to abattoirs, which are becoming increasingly big and increasingly industrialized.
We're obliged to send our animals to buildings they don't know, to be killed by people they don't know, and as a result, they experience stress and panic. And that makes us very sad. And more than that, it makes us feel very uncomfortable for them, especially given all that they provide us with. Their meat, their wool for the females. We don't want them to die in that way.
Many farmers who Jocelyne Pochet meets would like to avoid the abattoirs as they are today. A sociologist and researcher at the National Institute for Agronomic Research was once a farmer herself. She is a member of a collective, When Abattoirs Come to the Farm, which fights for alternatives to industrial abattoirs, such as mobile slaughter trucks that visit farms, as practiced in Austria. This allows farmers to take back control over how their animals die.
The entire process is focused on erasing the death. Even when you visit an industrial abattoir, when you listen to their directors, they tell you that the slaughter, the moment when the animal moves from life to death, really is a detail in the process. The abattoir transforms a living animal product into an inert and workable animal product. However, in social terms, this has now become a moral issue. We shouldn't separate animal death from human death, from our global relationship with human death. We no longer see hearses, we die in hospitals, are no longer in our homes. You can't separate that fear of death, or rather denial of death in our society. That denial of death, which is also a denial of animal death, as if we could live without dying, whereas in fact we can't.
For these small-scale farmers, death is all part of the job. They put a great deal of effort into ensuring their animals live as well as they can. But if they cannot guarantee a decent slaughter, where fear and pain are minimized, what is the point?
I think it's possible to allow animals to have a dignified death, where that death takes place in a space where there is meaning. A small abattoir which comes to the farm, for example, there would be a professional slaughterman who would know how to slaughter animals. They would do it the right way, taking the necessary time. Because giving meaning to the slaughter of an animal is about making time, giving us the time to think about what we are doing, giving time to the animal, giving time to the slaughterman, taking the necessary time. It's the opposite of the industrial abattoir where they kill without thinking about what they're doing. It's monstrous.
Abattoirs are monstrous. That's what the abolitionists say too. But for them, it's not just the conditions by which the animals are put to death that are intolerable. It's also the fact of killing them. No more abattoirs, and no more livestock breeding. They reject everything they consider to be a form of animal exploitation. This would be a huge shift for those who work with animals and nature, as shepherds have done for millennia.
If it's no longer worth eating meat from sheep, that means it's no longer worth living with sheep. Is it worth it? What would the mountains be like without sheep? It's a whole. You have to look at it from a historical perspective and an overall geographical one. There are animals in the natural environment and animals in our lives. Are we talking about living without animals?
What would a world look like in which people stopped working with animals? The abolitionists want to demonstrate to as many people as possible that it is indeed possible to live without animal products. That way of life is known as veganism, and the Veggie World Show is the vegan showcase in Paris.
There's yeast, flavorings, there's some champagne. It's an alternative to foie gras. I totally amazed my brother with it at Christmas. It took him a while to realize it wasn't real foie gras.
Fake sausages, fake meat, fake cheese. You can find all the latest vegetable protein substitutes for animal products here. A vegan's imagination has no limits. Egg-free cakes, milk-free cheeses. But this offer of vegan products is much more political than it seems. For abolitionist organizations, it's about the application of ethical choices. And this coherence is behind the success of L214, the association that exposed the practice of crushing chicks, and which regularly stuns public opinion with its shocking videos.
The accessibility of vegan food is key. The more accessible and easy the alternatives, if I can find vegan food just down the street, then I won't hesitate for long. If there's a product there that's come from an abattoir, a salami made from pigs I know have been gassed in an abattoir, and one alongside that is exactly the same but which is 100% vegetable, I can't see how it can keep going for very long. How can the other one continue for long? It's costly in ethical terms and costly in economic terms.
But in an ideal vegan world, what will become of the livestock we no longer need to eat?
The phrase animal liberation is bandied about a great deal, but it's just an image. In the same way we talk about the women's liberation movement and stuff like that. It's not really about releasing animals from farms. It's about stopping them from being born. It's about stopping bringing animals into the world that will be farmed and will feed into the abattoir machine, gobbling up animals, more than 1 billion every year in France. But to my mind, I think it's much more interesting to raise the question and cut the flow of animals at the source.
I think abolitionist movements don't really want to liberate animals. It's more about liberating the animal world. It's about freeing the world of moral dilemmas. But you can't free the world of moral dilemmas, and especially not by just getting rid of what causes a dilemma. I think they are dreaming of an innocent, perfect world.
Can we feed ourselves with all these animals as we have done over previous centuries? Or on the contrary, can we reproduce what many cultures have done by sacrificing as few as possible? The more we find out about how animals think, the more something will become forbidden inside us. Even if there is no law forbidding us to eat animals, something inside us will hold us back.